One, two, three.
This is Umar for BoxNation, live and exclusive from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm joined by the man himself, Joseph Parker, looking to steal the show once again, just like you did last time in Riyadh. Firstly, how are we, Joe?
I'm very good. It's good to be here, back in Riyadh, and another big fight to be involved in, another big fight, another big event, and I'm very excited to be on the card. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, it's actually been a while since I've seen you. It's good to see you, and life's changed, I guess, since I last saw you after that win with Deontay Wilder. Is that a fair comment?
Has life changed? Not really. I mean, it was a great win, and it was a great fight, and it was good to go in there and leave Riyadh with a good win heading into Christmas and New Year's. But has life really changed? Probably boxing-wise, more opportunity to fight bigger fights, but in terms of life itself, just listen, when I'm back home, father, husband, day-to-day jobs, and life is pretty much the same in that sense.
I like that answer because for a lot of people, and your character, I'm not surprised that's the answer because everyone knows you in the sport, one of the nicest people, very humble person as well. But for some people, it could get to their head, so that's why I asked.
Okay. Yeah. No, listen, life is good. Life is good. After that fight, I was able to relax back home with the family. Flew to Samoa for a week and had some downtime. I think I was away for 2 weeks, and then I was straight back into camp with Andy Lee and George Lockhart back in Ireland, and we had a great camp.
Joe, it's incredible to think, really, when you look back at how the fight panned out with Deontay Wilder and what everyone in the industry, the fans, how they were talking. They were basically dismissive of you, Joe. Everyone was talking about Wilder Joshua, former world champion, world-class fighter, yet still no one really gave you a chance in that fight. It's crazy when you look at how the actual fight panned out.
So when you look at the fight, it's not really, I mean, before the fight, there was a lot of things that people said. Myself and speaking for the team as well, we weren't really distracted or weren't really offended by what people were saying. We just went about our business in terms of training and keeping focused on what was in front of us, and we were quietly confident going into that fight, with the plan that Andy had in place and what we were practicing in training, what we were seeing in sparring, and the game plan, we were just quietly confident. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that do happen in boxing behind the scenes. There's fights being locked in for the future, and there's other fights being talked about, but for us, it was just about, that was a day that meant the most to us.
And how much credit do you give to Andy Lee? Because I know he's been a big influence on you.
Big credit. Me as a fighter, I'll fight anyone and I'll go in there, and as a fighter, sometimes when you get hurt, listen, you see red and you just want to go out for the kill and make mistakes. But when you have a boxing brain like Andy in your corner, not only he's a champion himself and he's a great teacher, and then you have George Lockhart and they work in sync with each other. When you have people like that in your corner, you are the best version of yourself, and they only want you to be the best that you can be. So, us as a team, I think it's great. It's what I've been looking for.
Obviously, you didn't really land anything in the fight because of your quality work in there. But did he ever sort of graze you? Did you feel anything?
Of course.
What was the power like, even though it didn't land clean?
I remember Wilder punching me with his right hand, and it landed on my glove, and I thought to myself, "Holy damn!" Like, if my hand wasn't up, how it usually isn't, sometimes it's low and sometimes it's down here on the hip or the chest. But if it wasn't up at that time, it definitely would have made a big difference. So Wilder does possess power, but on the night that we had the fight, he just wasn't able to land a clean shot, and I was able to do more of the damage.
Do you know what Tyson said the first thing after the first fight in LA? He said that early on in the fight, Wilder touched him to the glove, and he said that's, all fighters do that in sparring. It's happened numerous times to him, and he's not really felt it. But with Wilder, it felt like it landed on his face, and it just landed on the glove.
I'm not sure if Wilder's the same fighter, but I know he did come and bring the best that he could when we fought. But what Tyson was saying, I agree. One punch that landed on the glove and on the hand, I felt like, holy damn, wow.
Well, he's a big banger, and you took that away from him and beat him convincingly. You're in now with Big Bang himself, the Emperor, the Chairman. They call him Zhilei Zhang. His 2 wins over Joe Joyce. What do you take away from that? Impressed with that?
very impressed. Zhang went out there and dominated the first fight, and then went into the second fight and got a good knockout victory over Joe Joyce, who beat me. And so, but if you look at those fights, if you look at my fight with Joe Joyce to the fighter that I am now, I'm a totally different fighter, physically and mentally. And if Zhang, I know Zhang is smart enough not to look at that fight, and he's looking at more recent fights, but Zhang is a tough fighter. I actually fought Zhang when I was an amateur, so I know he was a big man. I was on holiday, and I was asked if I wanted to represent New Zealand in the Worlds, and I said yes. So I flew over to the Worlds, and I was matched up with Zhang. Obviously, I wasn't in shape. I shouldn't have been there, but he did beat me on points, and I remember at the time he was a big man, and even now he's a big man. So he's coming into this fight with confidence over the wins with Joe Joyce. I'm coming into this fight with confidence as well over my last fight. But I know this is a different challenge and a different task in front of me.
How do you find southpaws?
I've only fought one southpaw in my career. The great thing is, though, that my trainer is a southpaw.
Yeah,
so he's got a lot of insight on how a southpaw or how an orthodox fighter should fight a southpaw. And he was able to bring in the necessary sparring partners that we needed to prepare for Zhang. And I'd just like to thank my sparring partners who came into camp, and they gave me the best work.
Do you think this is a more difficult fight than Deontay Wilder?
I feel like this is a more difficult fight because, like myself, Zhang has been active as well, a lot more active than Wilder was. So with activity and with momentum, Zhang's going to put on a great fight, I believe. And I want the best Zhang there is because it brings out the best in me. And it's an exciting fight.
The concern people have with Zhang is that down the stretch he fades. We didn't really get to see that with the two Joyce fights because it didn't get to that point. Is that a key for yourself, Joe?
A lot of people are banking on Zhang tiring. You know, earlier on in his career, I saw a lot of fights where he did tire towards the end of the fight. But in recent times, though, Zhang's been able to, like with Herkovich, they went 12 rounds.
That went the distance.
They went the distance, and they were both shattered after it. But they gave it everything in the 12 rounds.
Well, many people thought Zhang won that fight.
So a lot of people thought that Zhang did win. I feel like Herkovich won, but I mean, you could argue each way. You know, the more powerful shots, etc. But Zhang didn't fade in that fight. And I believe he's been able to probably pick out the reasons why he used to fade in the past. So I want the best Zhang who's going to be there for 12 rounds because that's going to bring out the best in me.
You beat Deontay Wilder. If you beat Zhang this Friday night, what's next? You've taken out two of the best heavyweights in the world there, Joe.
Beat Zhang on Friday night. I deserve a bit of a break from my family just to relax and chill. And I got another baby on the way, so I want to be there for my wife.
Congratulations.
I want to be there for my kids. And
how many is that now?
It's going to be baby number 5.
Wow. You're competing with Tyson.
A lot of blessings. Tyson's on 7, so I still got a little bit of catching up to do. But just want to be back home, and then I'm locked in for a rematch with Zhang. Yeah. So I have to beat him twice in order to move on.
Do you understand that, though, with the WBO interim title, of course?
I understand it, yeah. I understand it because they're trying to protect what they've been working so hard to get. And it was the same situation with Joe Joyce. So we do understand it. Just would be nice to beat him and move on, but let's have to beat him twice.
Lastly, Joe, just away from this, do want to get your thoughts on everything that happened with the delay, with the postponement of Fury and Usyk, someone you know very well in Tyson. Got a lot of backlash. I feel unfair criticism, really, from certain people within the sport, but he did. Loads of conspiracy theories going around, he cut himself, etc. Thoughts on all that?
Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an idea of what happened. Everyone has a story of what happened to what truly happened. And it's one of those things where it was a freak accident, really. It was the last sparring, and he was getting ready to fight, and he just got cut. And what can you do? You can't really fight with a cut, so you have to take necessary time to rest and recover. But the great thing is that the fight's still locked in for May 18. My daughter's birthday, which I'm going to miss. Probably going to miss it and go support Tyson. And
will he beat Usyk?
Tyson, you're asking one of the team members. You know, he's like a brother to me. So I believe Tyson beats Usyk and beats everyone else. Usyk, though, listen, he's a very skilled fighter, but I just believe Tyson is natural heavyweight, and I've seen him, in the gym, seeing the fighting. I've even sparred him myself, and he's very fit, very tough, very long, and very tricky.
How was he looking in camp?
He was looking good in camp, or great in camp. Like, I wasn't involved in the last camp, but we're chatting here and there, and he felt great. But I feel like now it's now that the fight's been delayed, it's just more time for both guys to prepare.
Definitely. Well, it's New Zealand v China here in Riyadh this Friday night. People really are looking forward to this one.
New Zealand and Samoa versus China.
Well corrected, absolutely. Joseph Parker, thank you very much for talking to BoxNation. Best of luck this Friday night, and I'm sure we'll speak during the week or after the fight.
Thank you very much.